Let's start with some example and question which is come in test. This is related to the basic rules we need for the power and exponent. As you have a question is asking you calculate this power, -2 to the 4. Okay, so if you're lucky and it just say that calculate, you're okay. You can use your calculator. If you have permission, you can just use your calculator and calculate this value. But if your teacher or in final exam it says show steps, if you don't show your step, you will lose close to 25% of your grade. There is two ways to approach to the solution. The first way is, you know that this base is -2, you have to repeat it 4 times. So as a result, this one is -2 times -2 times -2 times -2. And then calculate it. Negative times negative would be positive, positive times negative would be negative, and negative times this negative would be positive. Therefore, the sign would be positive. 2 by 2 by 2 by 2 would be 16. Other way to do for this question, I'm writing or. You can say -2 to the 4. You can just say that this way. The exponent 4 is for negative and is for 2 as well. It means negative should be raised to the 4 and 2 should be raised to the 4. Yeah? So negative to the 4, it means you have to multiply negative 4 times. The final answer would be positive. 2 to the 4 would be 16. Therefore, final answer is this. And completely accepted. Doesn't matter you're using the method number 1 or method number 2, your teacher will be accept. Question number 2. How is that if in the final exam the question will be similar but to this one, but negative be outside the bracket, like this. Calculate -2 to the 4. So you know that this negative has nothing to do with the exponent. You have to carry to the process unchanged, and 2 should raise to the 4 times. It means 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. So as a result, just carry down the negative. Inside the bracket is 16, and therefore final answer is -16. Can you see the difference between these two? This is very tricky question and you will face in final exam. The form of the question would be like this. Question number 3. Maybe it's asking you evaluate 2 to the -4. You know that we have a rule for negative exponent. If you have negative exponent, always you have to change it to positive exponent. How? This is your base. You have to flip the base. 2, if you flip it, would be 1 over 2. Yes? And then raise it to the same exponent but positive. Therefore, final answer is 1 over 2 to the 4. This is final. You can leave it as it is, or if you like it, you can continue and say that 1 to the 4 would be 1, and 2 to the 4 would be 2 raised to the 4. This is completely accepted, but at this stage, it's completely enough, or you can represent it like this. Number 3, you know that we have 2 rules for multiplication and for division. Yes, if you have multiplication, you have add up the exponents, and if you have division, you have to subtract them. Yes, so let me provide you an example. Let's say, okay, this question be like this. Evaluate -2 to the 10 over -2 to the 4. You know that the line of the fraction, it means division. It means top divided by bottom. So therefore, this means that -2 to the 10 should be divided by -2 to the 4. For the division, we have a rule. The rule is that write one of the base unchanged and subtract exponent. 10 take away 4. So as a result, final answer would be -2 to to the 6. So because the question is asking you evaluate, you're going to evaluate, so don't leave it like that. Though this is sometimes acceptable with some teachers, but some of them ask a student to continue. So you need to expand this exponent for both elements inside the bracket. It means negative should be raised to the 6, negative should raise to the 6, and also 2 should raise to the 6. If you multiply negative 6 times to each other, you will end up with positive sign, and 2 to the 6, just raise it as a 2 to the 6. You don't need it, but though it would be 64, but it's enough. You don't need it. This is final answer. Yes, the other form that we have, I'm going to provide you here the next example. Let's say a question asking you evaluate, let's say 12 to the 4 times 12 to the negative 8. So again, because this is multiplication, we have a rule for multiplication. You need to write a base unchanged, one of the 12, and just add up these two exponents. It means 4 should be add to negative 8. So therefore would be 12, okay, 12, and here positive times negative would be negative, 4 take away 8 would be negative 4. Agree? Okay. So should I leave it like that? No. Again, you may lose 10%, 20% of your mark. So you have to change the negative exponent to positive. Do you remember by how you can do it? Just flip the base. Base is 12. Just flip the base to 1 over 12 and the same exponent on top, but in the form of positive. Let's continue more of this. I'm going to continue here. Let's just separate. How is that if the question asking you about addition? Let's say the question, still question is calculate. Calculate. Or maybe the question say evaluate. Both of them the same, okay? Calculate what? Let's say 2 to the 3 plus 2 to the 2. So can I just write one of them, one of the base and add 3 plus 2? No, you can't do that. Why? Because the operation is not multiplication, it's not division, it's addition. When we have addition subtraction, we do not have any formula for that. So what can I do for this? So you have to back, you have to erase it and change your strategy. What is the strategy when you have addition and subtraction? The solution should be you do not have any chance other than just evaluate each of them individually. Just raise 2 to the 3. If you raise 2 to the 3 would be 2 times 2 times 2, and you have operation plus, just add. For 2 to the 2, you have to repeat it twice. It means 2 times 2, isn't it? Okay. So first bracket, 2 times 2 times 2 would be 8 plus 2 times 2 would be 4. Just simply add them up, would be 14. Yes? Okay. Next example. I'm going to give another example. Okay. How is that the question? Exactly same question. Evaluate 2 to the 3 plus, instead of addition, let's do subtraction. Let's do subtraction. 2 to the 3 subtract 2 to the 2, let's say. Again the same, because this is subtraction, we do not have any formula. You have to raise each element to its own exponent. So 2 to the 3 would be again 2 times 2 times 2, and then subtract 2 to the 2 is mean 2 times 2 twice. The first bracket, if you multiply, would be 4. The second bracket, 2 times 2 would be 4. The first one would be 8. 2 times 2 times 2 would be 8. Second one, 4. And then simply subtract them. final answer is 4. The key point you need to know is the note that we know in power and exponent, anything raised to the 0 would be is equal to 1. Let's say, if it say evaluate this one, 5 to the 0, anything to the 0 is 1. If the question asks, let's say, x to the 0, your answer is 1. Let's say 1 over 3 to the 0 is equal to 1. Yes, therefore, if you are facing to calculate 4, let's say, to the 5 divided by 4 to the 5, you know that for the division you have to subtract these two. It would be 4 to the 5, take away 5, yes? So therefore it would be 4 to the 0. And don't stop in that stage because you may lose 5% of your grade, your mark. So as a result, you know that anything to 0 would be 1. Don't forget the final answer is 1. And the last point is that you know that any base, if raised to the 1, always would be itself. Therefore, 2 to the 1 is 2. Negative 2 to the 1 still is negative 2. Let's say root 3 to the 1, the answer is root 3, and so on. The last is this rule, which is a rule called power of power. Okay, what does it mean? Maybe in the exam it's asking you evaluate this. 2 to the 2, again raised to the 3. You have two exponents. When you have power of the power, you have to multiply simply these two exponents. You have one exponent here, another exponent here. You have to just simply multiply these two together. Therefore, your base is 2. You have to multiply 2 times 3. So therefore, you end up with 2 to the 6. And last example, let's say negative 2 raised to the 3, and again raised to the another 3. So therefore, answer is negative 2 multiplies these two, 3 times 3, it would be negative 2 raised to the 9. You can continue one step more and you can say this 9 is for both of them. It means negative should raise to the 9 and 2 should raise to the 9. Negative, if you multiply negative 9 times to each other, you will end up with negative. And 2 to the 9, I would like to just leave it as a power format. Therefore, final answer is negative 2 to the 9. That's all for now. If you have any question, leave it in comment down below. I would be happy to answer it. And if you like this video, please share with your friends and subscribe. And thank you for watching.